Coming up on Dare to Love Muslims. For Christians, learning about the beliefs and practices of Muslims can bring up plenty of questions. On today's program, Samia will answer many of those questions that she's often asked at live seminars or through email. There's lots of information ahead, so grab your notebook. Dare to Explore, the 12-lesson Bible study written by Samia Johnson, has been taught all over the U.S. Samia herself has taught Dare to Explore in churches and small groups to hundreds of believers wanting to know more about Islam. Today's program is a compilation of all the many questions that Samia is asked while teaching Dare to Explore, or that are emailed to her. All of these question and answer sessions that you'll see today are from the Dare to Explore Companion DVD set. We won't have time for all of the questions, but we've chosen the ones that are most frequently asked. These first questions have a lot to do with the early days of Islam during Muhammad's lifetime. It's evident that Muhammad was influenced by events and circumstances around him as he developed the religion that became Islam.
About how well would Muhammad have known the gospel, or what sort of information would he have had about Christianity?
As I mentioned in the lesson, that the Bible had not been translated into Arabic, so Muhammad did not actually have access to the Bible during his lifetime. But the interesting thing is Muslims claim, especially Muslim scholars, claim that Allah taught Muhammad about Christianity and about Judaism. Therefore, he did not need any outside resource. Although what the Quran tells about the prophets, many stories are not in line with the Bible, and they say that the story from Muhammad about these prophets is more accurate. That's why the Bible has been corrupted. But the truth is that Muhammad got all his information about Christianity from two people. The first one I mentioned was the Ebonite priest, who was the cousin of Khadijah, and his name was Waraka bin Nawfal. And the second one was an Nestorian priest who taught Muhammad from the apocryphal gospels, such as the Gospel of Thomas, which is not in line with the New Testament. He confirmed Muhammad's prophecy, and he taught him about Christianity, even about Judaism. And this is where Muhammad got all the information about Christianity as well as about Judaism.
How did Islam get linked to Jerusalem?
It's not mentioned in our lessons. Actually, this needs an entire book to be explained. But in a nutshell, Muhammad claimed that Allah took him physically on a journey to Jerusalem, and he visited the Holy Land and all the important places. This is how Muslims now connect to Jerusalem, and they say this is the second most important place after Mecca for us because Muhammad visited it. And that's why there is this conflict between Israel and the Muslim world, because Jerusalem is very important to them. This visit, it's called the night journey, and there's a long reference in the hadith about it in many places, but we have prepared an article that you can download or read from our website under Dare to Explore, so that you will understand more how Muhammad claims that now he belongs to Jerusalem and the Holy Land.
What are the satanic verses? Was Muhammad actually accused of listening to Satan?
Well, the satanic verses are simply two verses that have been inspired by Satan, and this is when Muhammad approved of 3 idol gods. They were temporarily included in the Quran by Muhammad, but they were later removed. Now there's no modern version of the Quran that includes these verses, but you can find them in hadith narratives and in the biography of Muhammad. The story reports that Muhammad longed for a better relationship with his kinsmen and with his neighbors in Mecca, and he wanted to make them believe in him and to convert to Islam. The 3 goddesses were Allat, Al-Uzza, and Manat. They were worshipped by the Meccan, and they were said to be the daughters of Allah. So Allah had 3 daughters, idols, whom the Meccan people worshipped. Satan tempted Muhammad, this is what they claim, to say in Surah or Book 53, verses 19 and 20, that these three goddesses were intermediaries or intercessors for people in front of Allah. Now, after this revelation was completed, Muhammad and his followers and the pagan Arabs all prostrated. Tensions eased and there was reconciliation. Everyone was delighted and happy. And this is what Muhammad wanted. But later, Muhammad retracted these revelations because they claimed that the angel came to him, Angel Gabriel, and he rebuked him for ruining the revelation, the entire revelation of the Quran. And Gabriel gave a new verse that Allah had abolished what Satan had given to Muhammad. That's in Quran 22:52. Now, when Muhammad took back his words, the Meccans saw that he was not telling the truth. They rejected Islam, and then Muhammad started being persecuted by the Meccans. In this, scholars say that Muhammad was accused of listening to Satan.
Samia, I'm wondering, in view of the differences between the Shiites and the Sunnis, is there any impact in how we would witness to them?
That's a very good question, and I know that you have a heart for Muslims and you try to reach Muslim women. There are some differences, but not a lot with respect to how we reach Muslims. For instance, as I mentioned in the lesson, Shiite Muslims, they feel that they are the underdogs and there's no equality in Islam, and we can point to equality in Jesus, that every Christian is equal, whether they're man, woman, whether their background is different or not. With the Sunnis, they are proud and they feel that they are the defendants of Islam. So we use a lot of apologetics with them. But the most important thing I know is true for each Muslim when we're dealing with them is to truly make them feel that we truly love them and we really care about them. Recently, there has been a movement in the Islamic world, especially in Asia, for Muslims to say, I'm just a Muslim. I don't belong to any sect. I'm just a Muslim. And for those, we just talk about general Islam, and then we start from the Bible. More important than what denomination or sect a Muslim is from is where every Muslim is spiritually. Some Muslims are very deep into their religion, so we have to be able to answer their questions or get answers for them. And some of them, they're not religious at all. They know nothing about Islam, and what they care for is to hear about Jesus. So this is where we start with them. So where a Muslim is more important than which sect they belong to.
Samia, in Islam, how does Satan fit into the picture of heaven and hell?
Satan went from being the chief among the jinn, and as I mentioned in the lesson, the jinn are created from fire and they are evil spirits. But then he was cursed by Allah when he would not bow down and worship Adam. Islam teaches that Satan spurs people to commit mistakes and sins, and he will stay forever in hell with all non-Muslims and maybe some Muslim women as well.
A lot of great information from Samia in that group of questions and answers. We'll get right back into more of that, but first, we want to let you know how you can get the Dare to Explore Bible Study and DVD set. For anyone interested in learning more about Islam and how it compares with Christianity, Dare to Explore is a great resource.
If a Muslim family moved into your neighborhood, would you feel comfortable welcoming them? Fear of the unknown sometimes keeps us from acting as we normally would. Well, take the time to prepare yourself now with Dare to Explore, a 12-lesson Bible study on Islam and Christianity by Samia Johnson. This Bible study and workbook, with its accompanying DVD, is perfect for small groups or individuals. The lessons cover everything you need to know to reach out in love to your Muslim neighbor. Through solid biblical teaching and heartfelt personal stories, Samia guides you through the birth of Islam all the way to the modern-day practices of Muslims and the biblical response to it all. Get the Dare to Explore Bible Study and Workbook with the DVD series today. To order, call 832-220-4040, 832-220-4040. To order online, visit our website, daretolove.tv. daretolove.tv. The more you look into Islam, the more questions you'll likely have. Get all of your questions answered by Samia right here on Dare to Love. Just email your questions to ask@daretolove.tv.
This next question and answer segment addresses several different topics, from the origin of the Kaaba in Mecca to why boys are valued more than girls in Islam. You may be surprised by some of the answers.
You know, I've always been kind of curious of who built the Kaaba, the black square stone that's in the middle, and why did the Muslims parade around it, and why was it built?
That is a good question as well. And the simple answer is there's no historic or biblical evidence that proves that anyone built the Kaaba. No one knows in reality who built it. But Islamic traditions and claims, they say Abraham built it. Other places in the Hadith, it says Adam built it, Ishmael built it, or even Allah built the Kaaba. So we don't know in reality. But what we know about that area is that beside the Kaaba, there was the spring, which is called Zamzam water. And Zamzam water is very holy for Muslims. They even fill it in small bottles and they sell it up till now, although the spring is dry now, but I don't know where they get this holy water. It's called Zamzam water from the Zamzam spring. And it is holy because Muhammad claimed that when Gabriel visited him and took him to Allah to visit the prophets and Allah, first he washed him with the water from that spring to cleanse him, and then he gave him wisdom and faith. That's why it's important. So if there was a spring, then this means in the desert, people gathered around it, whether it's for economic reasons or for religious reasons. That's why this center was important. Even with the pagans, they had buildings there and they worshipped stones in that area. There's a full article that is available online for you to read, a full page about Kaaba and Mecca on our website in this lesson in Dare to Explore.
Samia, why is it that whenever I see pictures of people praying in mosques, it's always men? There are never any women.
In truth, back in our Islamic countries, women are not allowed to share the same space with men because they make their prayer unacceptable. Muhammad said that when a man is praying, if a woman passes in front of him, or a dog, or a donkey, then the prayer is canceled. It is the truth. That's why in the Western world, to make it more acceptable for Western Muslim women, they allow them to get into the mosque and to pray with men, but they have to stand in the back. So you will see always the back rows are for women, or they put them in a separate room if they are more conservative Muslims. But in reality, in Islamic countries, Muslim women do not share a room with the men. And that's because Muhammad in the Hadith told the Muslims that it is better for a woman to stay in her house and pray than to go outside. It's even better for her to stay in her room than in any other room in the house to pray. Why is that? Because Muhammad did not trust women, and he wanted them to stay in their house as much as possible. That's why a lot of Muslim women don't even leave their house without their husbands or a male guardian to show that they are devout Muslims and to stay pure, because a woman is the one who is responsible for the honor of the family, and honor is very important.
Many Arabs that I know who are Christian still refer to God as Allah, and I wonder, why is that?
In Arabic, and even before the dawn of Islam, the word for God with a capital G that was used was Allah, because Allah in Arabic means the God. It doesn't indicate any specific God. But when you put the in front of it, it means the God who is above all gods. Muslims took this word and used it as the name of their God. Even today, in the Arabic Bible, God with a capital G is Allah in Arabic, while the Lord is different than Allah. He is a Rabb. So when Christians want to differentiate between Allah and the God of the Bible, they say Rabb, the Lord. They don't use Allah. But in classic Arabic, God with a capital G is Allah, who is the God.
Well, I was just wondering, how do you answer a Muslim who says to you that Isa and Jesus are the same?
I know we cannot tell them yes and agree with them that Isa and Jesus is the same person, because then the Quran doesn't tell the entire truth about Jesus, as we said in this lesson. What I would advise is listen carefully to what the Muslim is trying to say. How much do they know about Isa from the Quran? Have they read the Quran, understood it? And then you can use the similarities from the lesson to start. Look what the Quran says. He is the only sinless one. He's a word of Allah. He's a spirit of Allah. He's a miracle worker. And then you go from here to the Bible. Now, the Muslim might say, I only believe what the Quran says. I will not hear you if you're talking about the Bible, because the Bible has been corrupted and our leaders tell us not to read it. Here you can pull out the pamphlet that we prepared and you can download for free from our website, Is the Bible Corrupted? You share it and read it with the Muslims so that you can overcome this obstacle. And then they will be willing to listen to what you want to say about Jesus from the Bible.
Why is it that boys are more valued than girls in Islam?
In addition to having cultural reasons, there are maybe 7 to 10 reasons I can think of right now that are religious, that Muslims encourage and love and prefer boys over girls. For example, boys usually grow up to be men and they carry the name of the family, so there's continuance and lineage. The other thing is they become husbands, they marry women, whether Muslims or non-Muslim women, so they can expand Islam, when they have 4 wives, they can have 20 kids if they want to, so they expand Islam as well. They also eventually become an imam or a sheikh, so they teach about Islam. The next generation, they become missionaries and they expand Islam to other religions as well. The other thing I can think of is Muslim boys grow up to be warriors and jihadists to protect Islam, to expand Islam. That's why men are more important. They become presidents, they become leaders in their community for the cause of expanding the Ummah of Islam.
Are you learning some new things about Islam that you didn't know before? Do you want to know more? Why not start a Dare to Explore small group at your church and begin learning how to reach out to the Muslims in your community? Here's how you can take the first step.
If a Muslim family moved into your neighborhood, would you feel comfortable welcoming them? Fear of the unknown sometimes keeps us from acting as we normally would. Well, take the time to prepare yourself now with Dare to Explore, a 12-lesson Bible study on Islam and Christianity by Samya Johnson. This Bible study and workbook, with its accompanying DVD, is perfect for small groups or individuals. The lessons cover everything you need to know to reach out in love to your Muslim neighbor. Through solid biblical teaching and heartfelt personal stories, Samya guides you through the birth of Islam all the way to the modern-day practices of Muslims and the biblical response to it all. Get the Dare to Explore Bible Study and Workbook with the DVD series today. To order, call 832-220-4040, 832-220-4040. To order online, visit our website, daretolove.tv. daretolove.tv. Learn more about our ministry on our website, daretolove.tv. You'll find a number of helpful, free resources, including online books and articles. daretolove.tv.
There are a lot of obstacles to overcome when witnessing to your Muslim friend. Surprisingly, many answers to these obstacles are found in the Quran itself. Few Muslims know what the Quran actually says beyond what they are taught in the mosque. Should we read the Quran? Samuel will answer this and other questions in this next segment.
Samia, is it easier for a Christian woman to become friends with a Muslim woman than it is for a Christian man to befriend a Muslim man?
Not necessarily. It depends on the Muslim, whether they're very isolated, they don't want to befriend a Christian, whether they're very conservative, they don't want to get to know anyone. And also it depends on the Christians themselves. We have many Christian men who are very reserved and they are not willing to open up and to share about their faith with the Muslim man. So they might have a superficial friendship for years without really getting into what matters most, which is life after death. With respect to women, I feel that it is a little bit easier because Christian women are willing to open up and maybe to share on an emotional level, which the Muslim woman understands. But also, if the Muslim woman is controlled by her husband, she will not be allowed to befriend a Christian woman. So it depends on the Muslim woman, the Muslim man, and the Christians, where they're coming from, whether they are committed as well, and whether they want to continue that journey, though it might take years. With the Muslims they're trying to befriend.
Samuel, were you and your family Muslim before you became Christians? And did your family convert to Christianity before you did?
I always get asked this question because I'm from the Middle East, from Lebanon. In fact, there are many families and a huge population of Christians in Lebanon, in Egypt, in Jordan that never converted to Islam. When Islam invaded the Middle East and the Arabic countries and North Africa, the Christians were given one of three options: either convert to Islam or pay a high tax called jizya, sometimes amounted to 90% of the gross annual income of the family, or they will be killed. Many Christians who could not afford to pay the tax jizya were killed, thousands of them, and a lot more converted to Islam. But I praise God that my ancestors were able to continue to keep their belief as Christians, and they continue till this day. So we never converted to Islam, and my parents were true Christ followers. I was raised in a Christian home. I attended Sunday school, and I learned the Bible stories of the Old Testament and the New Testament on the flannel boards, and accepted the Lord when I was 6 years old. So I praise God for this heritage that I have that a few have in the Arabic countries.
Samuel, what is your reaction when you hear about Muslim extremist groups and suicide bombers?
When I shared my testimony in this lesson, when God helped me to forgive Muslims, He also taught me to direct my anger and my hatred towards the right source, and that is Satan, because he's the one who is behind the ideologies and beliefs that wants to destroy human beings. God does not want this. There is no faith that will accept this if it's truly from God. And what happens every day with ISIS, with Al-Qaeda, with all the Muslim extremists, I get angry and sad because so many people and children are being killed. And this puts in my heart the zeal to reach more Muslims and to continue to do this ministry so that those Muslim extremists will know that there is someone who paid the price for them. They don't have to die to guarantee paradise for themselves, and then they can value their life and the other people's lives, and they can live peacefully. This is how I look at it, and I pray that more Christians will look at it this way. This doesn't mean that we don't defend ourselves, but this means that we look at the broader picture, that Satan is behind this, and we need to fight against Satan.
Samia, do you suggest that we read the Quran ourselves? And if you do, which version would you suggest we get?
Not all the translations that are out there in the market are correct or true, especially when it comes to talking about women in the Quran or fighting in jihad. I have a preferred version that was translated throughout 4 years by a Christian from Egypt. And this Quran is available on our website for you to purchase. This does not only include every chapter of the Quran, but commentaries, where some verses came from, whether from the Old Testament, whether from fables, what do they mean? So I encourage Christians to read this version of the Quran. This is my favorite. There's also Quran.com online, where you can compare between almost 6 translations, and English translations, that Muslims themselves follow and they use in their books and online. So you can also use that and compare it with this book to see which one is telling the truth.
There are many more questions and answers on the Dare to Explore Companion DVD set. Order yours today and continue learning all you can about Islam as it compares to Christianity, so you can be better equipped to reach out to the Muslims you know. Let us know how it's going for you. We love to hear how the Lord works through His people. Samuel will be back with you next time.
Learn more about our ministry on our website, daretolove.tv. You'll find a number of helpful, free resources, including online books and articles, as well as our radio and television programs. Our compassion and relief ministry reaches both Muslims and former Muslims with the love of Christ in Muslim-majority countries. Watch some of their testimonies and be encouraged by the Lord. And check out our online store with all of the tools you need to get started reaching out to Muslims in your neighborhood, including our own publications, The Simple Truth and Dare to Explore, both written by Samya Johnson. Get involved. Become a ministry partner or host a seminar at your church. And feel free to contact us with your comments and questions. We'd love to hear from you. It's all on our website, daretolove.tv. daretolove.tv.
He was direct and frank. You are not Muslim anymore. Your blood is halal. It's your time to leave. You have to die. We announced to the family that anybody see you can kill you.
Kareem is one of many former Muslims who are cut off from their family and threatened to be killed for embracing Christ. When you partner with Call of Love Ministries, you help us support persecuted believers like Kareem, who gave up everything to follow Jesus. Your monthly tax-deductible gift of $25 or more helps empower persecuted believers. Call now, 832-220-4040. Or go to daretolove.tv and click on Donate to start your partnership.
I understand now how He loves me, how He came for me, how He crucified Himself for me.
If you enjoy watching Dare to Love, please consider partnering with us. Your monthly gift of $25 or more will help us continue producing this program and reaching Muslims for Christ. Call us now at 832-220-4040, 832-220-4040, or donate online at daretolove.tv.
Dare to Love Muslims is made possible by the friends and partners of Call of Love Ministries.